Come and join us for the 100th episode where my friend Karen Romine and I are discussing what some of the hardest things that we have to do in life. Can't wait to share that with you.
Do you want to know everything? What your heart won't say, but your soul can sing. From love to loss and the space between, she's got the light to lift the unseen. Hope, healing, and transformation. Do you want to know everything? Do you want to know everything?
Welcome to Hope, Healing, and Transformation. My name's Lisa Williams, and today we are going to be talking with a very dear friend of mine, of course, Karen Romine, and we are going to be discussing decision making and sometimes how hard it is to make decisions in today's world. Karen, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. I feel like I came back home.
I know. And here I am. This is what we have is when we talk about decision making can stress us out. Almost as stressed as I am right now.
Yep.
That's because I have no internet. I know, isn't it? And sometimes when we have these decisions that come, and they're the most smallest of decisions, or the most insignificant, or so we think, that can create the biggest amount of stress. Does that happen to you? Please tell me it happens to you.
Never.
Damn! Oh, we can't be friends anymore.
Look, every decision that we make, whether it's conscious or unconscious, causes some stress on us.
Oh. Yeah.
It shifts. And when it becomes like it just did for you, where it's here and now, and I need to make a decision right now, it really heightens, I think, our whole system goes on high alert. And you worry. You think about, I think this is super common. You worry about whether or not you're going to make the right decision.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And if you're all wondering what my decision is right now, is I have a modem problem with my internet. And so I'm here on my phone, and can you believe that we use it's almost like we've relied on our internet for so much. What did we do when there were telephone books, when we had paper maps?
Telephone books. Some people won't even know what that is.
I know we had the dial phone, not the push button phone, the dial phone. Seriously.
Oh my gosh. And my grandparents, we had the party line. And if the phone went ding, ding, then you knew. Hers was the double ring. Hello. You knew somebody was calling for you, and the operator was there saying, Martha wants to talk to you. Hold on.
Oh my God. Yes. So here we are. And my decision today was, do I wait and just hope that my modem will carry me through this episode, or do we switch it out? And the decision was to switch it out. And of course, it's gone kaput. However, we're not putting that out into the energy. Let's talk about decision making. Why do you think that so many people are in this decision fatigue, struggling with decision making, or really struggling about trying to just decide even what they want for dinner?
What they want for dinner.
Yeah, because that's one of my biggest things. What do I want for dinner? I'm like, I don't know, you pick.
Yeah, you and I have done a lot of research. If you've watched prior podcasts, you have an inkling of what's coming. If you haven't, then go watch prior podcasts. We make tens of thousands of decisions every single day. Most of those are personal, and a large amount of those are just on what should I eat.
Right.
I feel like the reason why we're noticing this decision fatigue, this whatever you want to call it, spiraling everything, I think that the reason why, I haven't ever answered this question before, but I think that the reason why we're doing that is because since we had a shift in how we operated our life 5-ish years ago. I think it made us start recognizing our decision making in a much bigger way, more than just what am I going to eat for lunch. I think that we made some big life changes. We had to make some big decisions. Things happened that were out of our control that had caused us to be making last minute decisions. So I believe that we're more aware of it now. And I also feel that being more aware of it makes us feel it more.
Right. I actually agree with that. And I think there's part of it here, Karen, that we are reacting now to life. I think there's a part of us that we are reacting to what is being put up to us rather than pausing and allowing us to decide what actually is the right thing for us. And I'm just going to speak for myself. Me having the decision taken out of my hands for what is it that I'm going to eat is probably the easiest decision, because as an entrepreneur, where I have a variety of different things that are coming in every single day, I do not want to make decisions, especially on what it is that I want to eat. And so for me, I will eat the same thing day in, day out, because it's the easiest decision for me. And I'm sure so many people are listening to this and going, well, that's me. But the thing is, I sometimes don't even want to go into my staff Zoom meetings because there is going to be an overwhelming amount of pressure on me. Everyone wants a piece, and it's decision, decision, decision. But what people don't realize is during a reading or during a coaching or during a session with someone, I am continually working with someone on their decision making, and I'm not making those decisions. I am working with them. And so it is a lot right now. And I'm just talking for me in general. Heaven knows somebody who is a doctor, who is a nurse, who is an accountant. Those people are constantly, they're in big, heavy, pressured decision-making situations.
Absolutely. And I was talking to somebody the other day and I thought, what about juries?
Oh yeah, look at that.
What about the lone holdout sitting on a jury? Look, there's so much stuff around decision making, and you're right. We both absolutely deal with people all day long that are trying to figure out what is the best decision. And just like those people that we work with, they want us to just tell them, like you said, they want us to just say, this is the answer. This is where you go. And it's not going to work that way. Somebody could tell you, you could find somebody to tell you what to do. And a lot of us do. We just say, just make the decision, just go with it, just make it, just to unload that pressure off of us of trying to make yet another decision. But as we've discussed in earlier podcasts, and a big part of what we have that's upcoming is that you need to listen to your intuition when you're making these decisions, or it's going to circle back. And it's not that it's bad when it circles back.
No.
We can't get in this perfection analysis, paralysis, at the same time, which, look, I'm not going to lie, I kind of like that space. I like everything to be just right. And it's hard to be in that space, and it's a learning about that pattern recognition of myself to be able to let go of that. Now, some people need perfection. You mentioned doctors or nurses, right? That's a lot more pressure to be perfect every single decision that they're making when they're working. But it creates more stress. But if we look at the bigger picture of being able to take the data that we have, and right now in this world of AI, there is so much data out there, move it into creating strategy and then working with our intuition, what we'll find is how it is we make the decisions and then learn the best way to put that all together. Some people are very focused on the strategy.
Right.
Some people collect all the data. Some people just run with their gut. And neither of those alone are really great.
Right.
It's learning how we make the decisions and then learning how to apply all of those parts to move forward.
I think, you and I have had many conversations about this. I think if we think of, so I was certified in foresight, which is where we are, it's one of those Myers-Briggs thinking profile. Well, this is not a Myers-Briggs, it's actually foresight, and it's a thinking profile. And it talks about how you're a clarifier, how you just want to clarify a problem. Then there's developers, you want to develop. And then there's those idea generators that we just come out with random ideas. And then there's the implementers that we just want to execute. Now, Karen, if I believe I am right, you are a driver, which is the same as me, which means that we get a great idea and we implement, which means we have had to work really hard at the clarifying the situation and developing something. So we don't just run in and execute. And that actually is recognizing our preferences where we lose energy. And I think the same is what you're saying here. Some people are more data driven. Some people want to work on intuition. And it's really identifying what isn't your maybe strongest suit and what is your strongest suit and finding balance between all of them.
Absolutely. And when you were just talking, I was thinking, well, and here's one more big complication. How often do you just make a decision and it only impacts you and nobody else?
Right. It never does.
So you've also got to learn, how does the group, the person, the individual, your spouse, your child, your boss, your whoever this is, your business partner, how do they make decisions? Mm-hmm. Because it's going to impact when you make a decision. It's going to have a ripple effect. It makes, look, even if I just make a personal decision, it creates a ripple effect. I check that off. I move that off. I consciously or unconsciously, I have some stress relief. My energy shifts. I breathe differently. And in turn, those around me get impacted in a positive way. But if I'm running a business or if I'm running my household and I say, I've made a decision and here's how it's going to be and we're moving forward, it has a big ripple effect.
Right. I can't tell you how many times my best friend, Janie, in the UK, she'll often say to me, well, it's the Gemini thing. You've made another decision again. I'll wait another 2 weeks before you change your mind. And I'm like, but here's the interesting thing is I think that I personally believe that we're in the state of society where we make a decision and then there's too many people adding their 10 cents in, adding their little, it's almost like they believe that they are now the expert in your business. And I have to sit and listen. And there's part of me that then goes, oh, well, maybe I should. Oh. And I'm like, wait, Lisa, you are one of the best psychics there is. And I'm blowing my own trumpet here. But you are pretty damn good at what you do.
Yes, you are.
How about listening to your own intuition for a minute? It's crazy.
I think that's human nature, though. Here you and I are working on decision making specifically.
Yeah.
And on helping people see it from a different perspective and giving people the tools to be able to exceed their wildest expectations. And in the middle of that, I sent you a Marco Polo and I said, I can't decide.
Oh my God, that was so funny. Do you remember that? Oh my God. We were working on this project.
Yes, and you came back and said, okay, first, I love you dearly, but here we are working on decision making, and you can't make a decision. So sometimes I'm not a polar. My husband will talk to 50,000 people to gather information. He loves to poll. That's how he makes decisions. I don't. But that's another way of looking at it, is that we have to allow ourselves this grace of moving into other areas in what we're working on. I tested, like I'm testing and retesting and everything. And I'm a clear A, B, whatever you want to call it. I'm a clear by over 10 points. This is my pocket. Oddly, to me, I am also another section, which comes 12 points below that, which means it can impact me. And when I looked at it, I'm like, well, that's why I asked her. That's exactly why I said to you, I can't make this decision. So we aren't always 100%. That's one thing I've learned for sure. We are not always going to make the right decision. We can have every tool in the book. We can have every bit of information. We are not always going to make the perfect decision. It's also in the decision-making space about learning and growing and using that as the tool to the next step and the next decision to make it better.
Right. It really is. And I think there are so many times, what I've learned, and I remember having this moment. I remember being, oh my gosh, it must have been back in 2009, 2010. I remember having this moment and saying, I am no longer going to listen to anybody else. I'm going to make my own decisions. I remember having this moment. I was just going through my divorce, and I remember saying, I have given my power away so many times. And I actually came home, and everybody I spoke to, I said, this is what I'm going to do. And they all looked at me like I was completely gone out because I hadn't consulted them on my decisions. And it wasn't a decision for anybody else. And I said, I am starting to make my own decisions, because in that place, my decisions weren't listened to in my own divorce. And then I got into another relationship again. I wasn't listened to. And it was so much worse. But what I did is I made that decision to step in for me. And now, I have my husband who I do confer with. I have you. I have my trusted advising people. But it's in that place of making these decisions that I am no longer frozen. And I think that's the key now, because I use my intuition. And there's also this other part of it that we use the data, which is what you were talking about. We take this data and we can be so wrapped up on this data that we actually have to start thinking what feels right for me now. And then we can navigate it. So I think this is a real valid conversation right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And on your trusted people, your circle, it's great to get other people's opinion. I don't think it's always needed. I think learning where that awareness is. But the biggest part, just like you just said, is not to hear other people. I have baggage. I know that comes as a big surprise to a lot of people.
You think?
I have baggage. So, like, I hate to tell you, whoever you are watching this, but you got baggage too. We have this inner voice that says, when we hear our intuition that says turn right, that's what you should do, turn right. All of a sudden, all this chatter, all this white noise starts in. Oh, yeah, but then there was this time, and oh, she did that, or she doesn't know this. So if I say to someone, hey, what do you think? Should I turn right or left? They're going to tell me based on their baggage. Right? Oh, I tried this. It didn't go so well. I went there, even though all they're saying is just turn right or left. Sometimes they share. So it's important that we remember this was another conversation I just had at an event I was speaking at. It was more in an interview style, and the question was, can you tell the difference between unconscious bias and your intuition?
Oh.
And I thought, wow, that is like the best question.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like we talked about then, we all have bias. We do. We can be biased towards people that are biased.
Right.
Right? There's always something that's in there. I have a bias about green beans. You have one about peas.
Right, I do.
Right? We all have that. Well, if we have this unconscious bias, how do we separate at that moment when we come in to make that decision to understand whether or not that's our intuition guiding us in the right steps or our unconscious bias? Now, I don't think we want to answer that right now, because this is part of what's coming. This is part of what we're going to work with you on and help you through to be able to see things differently. But if you don't have the tools to understand what's happening, it's very hard to understand the results.
Right. And this is what actually happened, Karen, when you came to me and said, I have an idea. I have an idea. And she had been poking at me and saying, I think you should do this. I think, have you thought about, and she kept poking at me. And based upon my previous history, I said, absolutely not. No, because I was working from my own experiences, data, judgments, da. And what actually switched it was when one of my CSA students gave me a little reading, and she said, have you thought about doing something with Karen Romine? And I went, no. Well, kind of, but maybe, sort of, ish. Which is a very common theme for me. Maybe, sort of, ish. Anyway, so, and then you told me what it was, and I was like, no. And then you poked again. And I sat with it. 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 And then I went, oh, and I'm really excited about this now. Because even today, I started to get all excited. I had this vision of how it was going to be. And And so now it's grown. But I was very drawn into this. Absolutely no, I do not want to do it. And now I'm all in.
That's because your inner voice said yes. It can say no later, but you'll be so sucked in you won't be able to leave.
Which we can't tell you what it is yet.
But I am. Oh, you go.
Ooh, I'm so excited to tell them.
Yeah. I'm going to say the longer it's delayed. Look, I'm just going to put it out there. It's delayed because you and I want this to be like epic, like this is going to blow your mind. And I'm also going to tell you that it is truly going to change your life. It will absolutely, positively change your life when you join us. There's no way that it can't change. There's no way you can't join. There is no way that it can't change your life. And when I'm working on it, my book is coming out the end of, maybe the end of this month even, but probably mid-ish October.
Right.
And I thought that was like giving birth, like, oh my
it
God.
Is.
Part of me was so excited, and part of me was like, I'm never doing that again. And right now, what we're working on is, I feel it's a child. It's like I'm doing this all over again in very short order. I never saw this coming. And we're using the statistics and the data that's out there, and we're giving you the solid space to build this strategy. And look, let's face it, we have the queen of intuition here. So we've got Lisa freaking Williams that is going to help us to tune in to our intuition, which is the most significant point. And we all have intuition, every single person out there. So this is not for one or for another. This isn't for somebody that's only got this situation or only got that situation. This is global. And I can solidly tell you there is not another thing out there, not even at Harvard, that is like what it is we're putting out there.
And this is what I will say to you. This is why I adore you in this space, is because you do your research, you find it out, you dot your I's, you cross your T's. It's like you came to me with this whole business plan. And I'm like, oh, because that's your background, business and setup and startups and everything else. And as your husband likes to say, unscrewing in a rather, I'm using a nice word, unscrewing businesses. But it is, I think this is the thing. When you came to me and said about this, I think it was powerful. But you mentioned the key word, which is intuition. And intuition, I have said it many times, that intuition is our safety net. Intuition is our innate ability for us to be safe. And what we are now doing is we are giving away our intuition, which is, I am not listening to my intuition because somebody else has given me their opinion. So therefore, I am going to say I'm turning right, but somebody tells me not to turn right because there's a roadwork. So I am now going to make a decision to turn left or go straight on. What I'm doing is I am essentially giving my power away to somebody else. And the hardest thing is once we start getting into that cycle of giving our power away, we actually forget how to get it back. And I find so many people, and I was just paused then and hesitated. I was like, is it male? Is it female? Where's the majority? I'm going to say it's across the board. Everybody does this. And if you are able to completely trust in that space, and even I don't do it all the time, but if you are able to completely trust in that space, you will find that it will change your life. Not only business-wise, I'm talking personally, I'm talking family, I'm talking interpersonal relation, I'm talking everything. Because what we have to realize is that, and I'm using such a cliche line here, that things happen for a reason. Yes, I get it. But your intuition, if it tells you to turn right, it's telling you for a reason, because there's a life learning lesson. There's something on the right side. There's something you need to see. There's something that is going to help you grow. There is something. And that's what the key is. But there's also data with what Karen and I are going to show you. There's data that's going to help you feel good about making your decisions in the way that you're going to. It's life-changing. Just saying.
When you were just talking about that too, it made me think about another thing that we're really going to dig into that you bring so much to the table on, which is neuroscience and the brain. With all of your education, your studying, your coursework, everything in that space. And another thing that's really surfaced over this past year while we've really been putting everything together and helping it to take shape is when your brain says I'm going to keep you safe. Just delegate. Just delegate. Like I got to take some stress off you. And you delegate, but that's not your intuition, but you delegate. And there's also going to be a lot of discussion around science. It's the facts. It's the actual information. So some people perceive intuition to be a little woo-woo. And I think I've even said this before on your podcast, that if in 1960 I walked into my office and said, you know what? I've been listening to my gut, my intuition, and that voice says to do this. And I know on paper it makes sense to do this, but we're going to do this. Everybody would have probably said, let's take her to the hospital and check her in. It was not accepted. And now the reason it is more and more and more accepted and talked about is because they're doing the science on it. They're paying attention to it. It's factual. It's not just women. I heard some other talk show the other day and somebody said, oh, a woman's intuition. No, it's not a woman's intuition. And to me, that means that the guy who said that is not hearing his own voice at all. He has no idea it's there. So, and it's there. It's there. So I'm super excited also to bring in the neuroscience of it and and how to override my brain saying, I'm going to keep you safe no matter what, and listen and then look at my bigger picture and understand how it impacts me and how it impacts others.
Now, go ahead.
Yeah. No, you go.
Well, I'm going to say, you and I have talked about this. It's only when you mentioned, like back in the 1960s, I have been pulling apart an old book dating back to 1937.
Yep.
And this old book talks about psychic insights. It talks about using intuition. It also talks about sexual energy. It talks about the subconscious mind. It talks about all of these powers, but it's actually talking about intuition. It doesn't say it because intuition has been a buzzword that's only come out in the last few years. But I will tell you that I've been reading this and I sent excerpts to Karen. I'm like, oh my God, look at this. Oh my God, look at this. Oh my God. And it is so crazy, but it works on these 13 principles. And those of you who are actually listening will probably know the book. It's called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I have been studying this book, and it talks about the key principles of this. And it is desire, faith. So faith is really important. It talks about specialized knowledge, which is your data. It talks about the imagination and decision makings. All right. So guys, we are not just talking, this is not new stuff. This has been around forever. And then it talks about the unconscious mind, the brain, and the sixth sense. But here's the part that it is. That book's hard to read. It's not an easy book to read. But I think what's happening in today's society with the political climate, with the way that the social climate is, we're talking about diversity, with there's a huge amount of issues in certain cultures. A lot of people are struggling. We want to help our families. We want to help our kids. Kids are struggling. I'm going to tell you right now that there's a lot of pressure on every single one of us. And sometimes trying to navigate all of these, 13 principles that he puts in this book is really hard. Sometimes it goes down to making one decision that will impact you and your family. And sometimes that decision is the biggest decision, but we are now in a reactive space because of where we are in life. And we're going from and I only had this conversation recently on a podcast about how we subscribe to our ancestors' beliefs. And when we subscribe to our ancestors' beliefs, we get into this, we can't make a decision for ourselves. Now, we are able to make decisions, and you should feel very happy and strong and proud about the decisions you will make. I could get on my soapbox forever about this, Karen.
Yes, ditto.
Sorry, it just went off
I,
on one.
no, don't apologize. I absolutely agree. I would invite everybody that's listening to start thinking about all the decisions that you're making. From getting up in the morning to, do I want to get out of bed right now? Or do I want to hit the snooze?
Yeah.
What am I going to wear? What am I going to eat for breakfast, if anything? Which way am I going to go to work? Or, should I go upstairs right now? Or, should I walk the dog first? Or which way should I walk? I mean, start thinking about how many decisions you're making. And as you're doing that, start just being a little bit more aware. Are you making that decision based on emotion? Are you making that decision based on, I just don't feel like doing something, or I've got information on that? This morning it was raining. It's still raining here, which is very unusual. And I went out to walk a mile because I get up in the morning and I walk a mile. And I went out in the rain. It wasn't lightning and thunder. And I'd rather walk outside than on my treadmill. So I went outside and I walked and I came back. And my husband hadn't walked the dog yet. They walked 2 miles. And he had just decided he wasn't going to do that because he didn't want to have to deal with drying the dog, and he was going to be wet and whatever. It didn't matter. Eventually they walked. But it's about why we make those decisions, right? I make my decision, that particular one, because I've moved it off my decision list. I'm doing it. I'm not making a decision about it. It's a given for me. It helps me. He still makes that decision. It's not an automatic for him. That's what I learned today. Here, this whole time, they go out and walk 2 miles every single morning. And I thought, oh, he doesn't even think about it. He just goes to do it. He thinks about it.
Right.
And he makes a decision based on his experience and his knowledge and his strategy and his data. So like all this stuff impacts him differently. Just start paying attention to how many decisions you're making, what you're making those decisions about, and what's impacting you when you're making those decisions. When you join us in the next, please, from my lips to the universe's ears, in the next 30 days when we've got it rolling out and everything's perfect. Yes, it's my perfectionism, sorry. that you're then going to be steps ahead of the system because you're already going to start to be insightful around the process and around the reality. I mean, there's no way. The stats are 35,000 decisions in a day. And there's no way you're going to have noted, I hope, 35,000, because a lot of those we just do intuitively anyway. So, yeah, I'm excited for people to get there and already have a little inkling around things, already know what's really eating up their time. The cost in indecision. The cost in indecision is so big, and it's so big just for you. Like, let's just say we put you in a day, just to spout out a number. Let's just say we put you in decision-making mode for 2 hours a day. That is not a stretch. But if you are in indecision for that, it's impacting this person or that person. It's the ripple effect. Yep. So the reality is we could give you a number on and we will give you a number on how much indecision is costing you, how much your decision time is costing you. But we really can never calculate what the bigger picture is.
Right. Yeah. And in fact, it's interesting because it's that indecision that actually wastes your energy. You lose energy. It gives you, there's a decision I have to make, or I've been making all day. Do I answer a text message back? And in my mind, yeah, I know. I'm so sorry. My internet went down. But that decision, should I answer that text message back? It niggles away at you. And it's the most insignificant thing. Should I answer the text message back? It niggles away, but it actually takes energy away from something else because it's there. You're watching it, you're seeing it, you can see it, and therefore it takes you momentarily away from something else that you were supposed to do. And it's not good. So I'm gonna make a decision here. All right. I feel that you should go to either lisawilliams.com or karenromine.com and sign up to receive our updates, to sign up and receive our newsletter, whatever it is, because we want to share this with you. We are excited about it. We've got a lot in store, a lot of fabulous stuff. Fabulous stuff. And really come and join us. Come and see what we're about. I believe it's going to be done in 30 days. I'm putting that out there.
All right. It will be then. And the decision has been made.
It has. Right here, right now.
Right
and
here, right
I'm going to
now.
say, on the 100th episode of Hope, Healing, and Transformation. It's the 100th episode today.
It is?
It is our 100th episode.
I would have brought like 100 balloons or something. Oh my gosh, I had no idea. This is huge. And I feel like at the very beginning, I was on one of the very first ones.
You
too.
were.
So I've been here the whole way through. Wow. So here we are.
Here we are, 100th. It's crazy. So that is what happens. We made a decision. And here we go. So yeah, fantastic. Karen, thank you for joining me. Where can people find you? Just because...
KarenRomine.com is my website, or any of my socials are I am Karen Romine.
There you go. Nice and easy. You heard it. Come and sign up on our newsletters just to keep you up to date. We will let you know what's happening. And if you have a decision to make today, I'm going to just say, pause, take a moment, and decide for you, not for anybody else, what is right for you in this moment right now. Thank you for watching Hope, Healing, and Transformation. My name's Lisa Williams, and this was Karen Romine. And thank you so much. Oh, Karen, you love doing that.
Yeah. I love you. Thank you.
I love
Thank you for having me.
All right, guys. See you all next time.
Do you feel a whisper in the back of your mind, like the truth is waiting, but it's hard to find? Well, maybe there's magic in the words she brings. Close your eyes and listen in. Do you want to know everything? What your heart won't say, but your soul can sing. From love to loss and the space between, she's got the light to lift the unseen. Hope, healing, and transformation. Do you want to know everything? Do you want to know everything?
Thank you so much for joining me today. And remember, the information shared on this podcast is meant to inspire and support you, but it's not a replacement for personalized advice from a qualified professional. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with someone who might benefit. And don't forget to tune in next time. Until then, take care and keep believing in something better.